Shalom, shalom, Hayawam Tawab, Hayawam Arabai, Shabawai Achad, Chadash Arabai, which today is the fourth day of the week, of the first week of the month, of the fourth month of the year, which is April. Anakna Waha Ibar Sha'Allah Hawalakim La'atam, Call Shabawai Baha Wakak Shah Yahweh Bahasham Yahushah. Hey, with the Hebrew Israelites coming to you week in and week out through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahasham Yahushah, to preach to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, Haitians, and Israelite foreigners. Nechamatam kayaham lapquath hashemayim korab. Repent ye, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Call laim la Yahweh bahasham Yahushah, bahasham chahakwadash, wa mashana kabadim zukoyim nawa, wa malakam shaya shalaz zukoyim chagadawa, wa chasa wa shalamam, wa barakim laha b'chayim shahagav shalamam. All right, so all praise to the Most High Yahweh, which means He exists, Bahasham, and the name Yahweh Shai delivers. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Israel, the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Mercy, peace, and blessings to the elect of the nation of Israel. Shalom, which means peace. So this is Mattathiah, also Matthew chapter 6 and verse 22. It says, the light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. But if thine eye be evil, thy whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in thee be darkness, how great is that darkness? All right. So I want to get this term single, but I also want to touch on this because that light going into the scriptures, you want to keep your eye single, and single going into a multitude of definitions. But if you're focused on what this devil is doing on the left-hand side, or if you're taking heed to his different devices, and you're giving into those things, then you aren't necessarily going to be focused on the scriptures. All right. And what I mean by that is, like, if you're focused on the folly, the bread and circus, getting super into this Trump thing, and not just looking at it as it's just another distraction. You won't have your mind on what they are doing in the background, i.e. The thing with the currencies, because these different nations are teaming up and getting currencies. You see the dollar is taking a major hit. You see, so while that's going on in the background, they have different things in the media pushing in the forefront. All right. That's how this devil works. He'll do something over here to ultimately do something over here, that can be something major. All right. So that's why we have to keep our eyes single, all right, on this truth, so that we can see in this dark world. You see, because Isaiah chapter 6, even verse 1 and 2, go into how it's gross darkness to people. All right, so this earth is covered in this gross darkness. So we must be able to see in these perilous times that we coming up into, and even now. All right, but let's get that word single, because today's lesson is entitled Palal, LaHaAhdawan, Kaya Iyan Tawab. Again, Palal, LaHaAhdawan, Kaya Iyan Tawab, which is pray to the Lord for a single eye. And single going into, it says simple, it's simplicity in Mashiach. Single, focused, whole. When you're whole, you're complete. All right. It says good, fulfilling its office, sound of the eye. All right, and that's why I wanted to choose the word Tawab, which is good. All right, because loosely it goes into good, fulfilling its office. All right, going into the eye. All right, so going back, let's get what that light is, because we want to be focused on this light, which is the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the scriptures. This is Mashalim, also Proverbs chapter 6 and verse 23. It says, for the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light, and reproofs of instruction are the way of life. Za'awar, Hasapar Shah, Yahweh Bahasham Yahushah, that light is the book, the understanding of the book of the Lord, all right, which is the scriptures. That's where we get that lamp. That's where we get the vision. All right, that's where we get the light to see in these dark times. All right, and it's only going to get darker. Bayan Shah, Hasapar, Haya, Anaknawa, Lanawa, Lara'ah, Baza, Arataza, Chashak. All right, so understanding in the book allows us to be able to see in this dark world. All right, because again, going into Yeshaya, Isaiah 60 and verse 2, it talks about that darkness, all right, and that darkness being the ways of the world, all right, which are adverse to the scriptures. Okay, let's get another one. This is Mattathiah, also Matthew, chapter 6 and verse 19. It says, lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, being in that darkness, where moth and rust doeth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal, but lay it for yourselves treasures in heaven, Bashamayim, where neither moth nor rust doeth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal, for where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. And so whatever you value, whatever you cherish, that's what you're going to be focused on. You see, so if you're focused on the things of this life, the things of this world, then your eyes going to be, or your body's going to be full of that evil. All right. You're going to be completely dark. All right. It's going to overtake you. So that's why we got to keep our eyes single. We got to have that Iyan Tawab, that single eye, you know. Let's get another one. This is 1 Peter. 1 Peter chapter 4 and verse 7. It says, but the end of all things is at hand. Be ye therefore sober and watch unto prayer. Hakwatazah shall call the Barim Korab. All right, the end of all things is at hand. We're seeing the time where the end is manifest. We're seeing all the end time prophecies. We're seeing the visions come to pass. All right, so just like Ezekiel, Yahzak Allah, chapter 21 and verse 9 talks about a sword being sharpened. Should we then make mirth, roughly paraphrasing? Let's get that. This is Ezekiel chapter 21 and verse 9. It says, Son of man, prophesy and say, thus saith the Lord. Say, a sword is sharpened and also furbished. It is sharpened to make a sore slaughter. Is it furbished? It is furbished that it may glitter. Should we then make mirth? It contamineth the rod of my son as every tree. All right, so a sword is sharpened. All right, the destruction is coming. You see, the destruction, chiefly going into the nukes, it's not written just to look good on paper. You see, it's actually going to happen. The Lord said that his word shall accomplish that which he pleased, roughly paraphrasing. It should not return unto him void. You know, should we then make mirth? You know, we should not be in that mirth, live it up spirit, YOLO, you know, in totality. You know, you can have fun here and there, but you should not be in the spirit of the world. All right. Because, you know, we understand that the destruction is not, and if we're not in the correct spirit, we will be taken in that destruction. All right. Continuing on. This is Mark chapter 14 and verse 38. It says, watch ye and pray, lest ye enter into temptation. The spirit truly is ready, but the flesh is weak. I wanted to go into this with some precepts. This is 2nd Isaiah, also Ezra chapter 9 and verse 1. It says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning prophecy. Nabawa'ah. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. We're seeing the signs, or the signs are coming to pass. Even so, the times also of the highest have plain beginnings and wonder, and powerful works and endings and effects and signs. All right, we're seeing those signs. But going back up to verse 1, the point, it says, measure thou the time diligently in itself. That's how you watch diligently, you know, with care, attendance, being meticulous, knowing something about a little bit about everything, so that you can measure it up into prophecy, into the words of the scripture. All right, continuing on. This is Habakkuk, also Habakkuk, chapter 2 and verse 1. It says, I will stand upon my watch, because that's what we're supposed to do. If you don't stand on your watch, you're going to be taken. You're going to be in that darkness. And set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And the Lord said, and pretty much you get the answer going into the scriptures. All right, 2nd Isaiah chapter 9 and verse 1, measuring thou the time diligently in itself. All right, showing attendance to it, praying, watching, and fasting, reading the scriptures, staying in the spirit. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, understandable, that he may run that readeth it. All right, so the other believers so that they can understand the scriptures. It says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, talking about the prophecies, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. All right, each prophecy has a specific time that it's allotted to happen, and it's not going to happen quicker or faster than, what the Lord has it at the time that basically the prophecy is going to happen when the Lord wants it to happen. All right, He's not going to speed it up because someone wants to be sped up. Each prophecy has its time. All right, just like in Quahalaf chapter 3 and verse chapter 3 and verse 1. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. So everything has a specific time that the Lord has it set up. All right. So moving on. Going back to Salah. Going back to Mark chapter 14 and verse 38. Because it said, watch ye and pray, lest ye enter into temptation. The spirit truly is ready, but the flesh is weak. Zalama anakna wa amar rachara bashar ma'ait. All right, that's why we say lama zalama, that lama. Why anakna will we say amar rachara bashar ma'ait. All right, more spirit, less flesh. You see, because you want to be engulfed in the spirit. You want to live by the spirit. You want to live by your faith, not by the flesh. Because whatever you it's a saying that Gad used to use. It's two things. Which one's going to win more, or which one is going to ultimately win in the end? And pretty much the one that you feed more. You see, so you want to have more of the spirit than of the flesh, because if you just playing on the flesh, that's the one that's going to win. All right, because the flesh is ultimately weak, as it says. You see, and what's going to be more spiritual? Watching and praying. All right, that's why it says, lest ye enter into temptation. All right, because pretty much if you living by the flesh, you're going to take that mark, that charagma. All right. Let's get Mark chapter 13 and verse 35. It says, watch ye therefore, for ye know not when the master of the house cometh, at even, or at midnight, or at cock crowing, or in the morning, lest coming suddenly he find you sleeping. And what I say unto you, I say unto all, watch. Hey, so you got to be diligent. You see, because if you're not watching, you're going to think nothing is going on, and you're going to fall back into temptation. But I saw you want in temptation. All right, so that's why it's imperative, LaHaAhdawan, or that's why watching Shamar is imperative, LaHaAhdawan, in this walk, or in the walk. All right, because if you're not watching, you're just going to fall, banasayawan, into temptation. All right, which essentially that's going to equal destruction. All right. I had another one. Actually, let me get this. Let me go ahead and close it out. This is Mashalyam, also Proverbs chapter 29 and verse 18. It says, where there is no vision. All right, so those that are not watching, you see, their eye isn't single. All right, the people perish. They're going to perish because they're living off the flesh. They're not watching, and they're going to basically try to serve the master that they're used to. It says, but he that keepeth the law, the one that's attending, the one that's watching, the one that's being diligent, happy is he. Ultimately he's going to be blessed. All right, let's get one more. All right, so this is 2 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 11. It says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. All right, so watching and focusing is ki aita kaya shaitan, which is basically right now, because Satan is using distractions, i.e. the Trump thing, bread and circus, the comfort foods, the different means of entertainment. He's using those things to keep people's focus off of what's going on in the background, which is the dollar crashing. All right, so Aima Shawamariam Kaya Nakna wa Korab Hakwataza. All right, again, Aima Shawamariam Kaya Nakna wa Korab Hakwataza. All right, so Aima continue watching or because we are at the end. We're close to the end. You see? So Adawan Ratazaza Banayapa, Baharacha, Lord's will, there was a beautiful edification through the Spirit. Call Halayim La, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shah, Basham Chahakwadash. A double honor to the elders and apostles of great millstone that told me the truth and rule well. And much respect to you, brothers out there, pushing the truth without righteousness and sincerity. Shalom, shalom. How you want to walk? Shalom.